Welcome to Raregivers 2023. My name is Crystal Barrett O'Loughlin, the founder and CEO of Angel Aid Cares. And we're going to be talking about a specific kind of self-care today, gaming. Gaming is such a surprise mental health tool, and we have a real expert in this area, both personally and professionally, Tommy Pham, who I'm going to be introducing in just a moment. For now, I'd like to invite you to learn a little bit about the Raregivers program. And Raregivers as an organization is run by the Angel Aid Network. We are a global nonprofit network that provides personal connection and emotional support to patients, to parents and caregivers, and professionals that are supporting those families in the rare, chronic, and complex disease communities. So these are families and individuals that are feeling quite isolated and quite overwhelmed by their medicalized lives, and that look to Angel Aid to provide daily compassion and relief. Our goal is to support 3.5 million Raregivers by 2026. And we're so grateful for all of these technology tools, including platforms like YouTube and others where we can connect with our community like we're connecting with you today. Over this full month of wellness, we have been offering meditations on Mondays, fitness experiences on Fridays. We've been featuring various different authors during our Author Talk Tuesdays. And on Thursdays, we've been featuring caregivers. In our Wednesday Wellness series, we've been looking to experts in different parts of self-care. And today we're going to be focusing on this conversation with Tommy Pham, who is a rare father, who is the leader of the Raiden Science Foundation, and who professionally is a key role within the Nike organization. All of the conversations today are going to be about Tommy's experience personally in working with gaming as a self-care tool. We'd also like to just take a moment and thank the many corporate sponsors who have been supporting our work for the past 6 years, and in particular to a series of automotive and technology companies, as well as pharmaceutical companies who have been sponsoring Angel Aid and the Raregivers program. And we actually execute these programs through various different patient advocacy organizations. And so thank you to each of these individual organizations, as well as umbrella organizations like NORD, the National Organization for Rare Diseases. This is a global challenge. In the rare disease space, it's a misnomer. Rare is actually not rare. Rare diseases impact more people than AIDS and cancer combined. The definition of a rare disease is less than 50,000 patients worldwide, and there's actually 10,000 different rare diseases. So when you look in aggregate, we're talking about 350 million people around the world, 1 in 10 American families, and 1 in 15 worldwide. Here's the kicker. There's no cure for any rare disease. And when you look at that from what I call empathy math perspective, this isn't a hard equation. If you have 350 million families that are grappling with the unimaginable realities of living with a rare disease or caring for a loved one with a rare disease, and you have 0 cures, then what we really are grappling with is a global mental health crisis. While research and science is doing the good work, we need to be paying attention to the emotional well-being of the patients, the parents, and the professionals who are supporting this community. And in fact, it's a United Nations fundamental human right to have access to good health, and that includes emotional well-being. So we do not decouple the two. This is squarely put together: good health, physical health, and also mental health and well-being. And that's what the Raregivers program at Angel Aid delivers. Since 2018, we have been growing our community from 7 women in our Wellness Retreat Center in Southern California to over 15,000 families around 33 countries across the world. We have 22 actively engaged psychologists and practitioners in our health and wellness network, and we've delivered over 21,000 hours of wellness training thanks to you and your support. So that's what today is all about. It's a celebration of the well-being we've been able to deliver. And the way we deliver this at scale is we create tools that can be downloaded for free, available to everybody. We're democratizing mental health and wellness. And the Raregivers Emotional Journey Map has just an incredible amount of research and science behind these 6 different stages that families are grappling with, are thinking through, and not in a linear fashion. You could be in an ER visit and worried about an end-of-life experience. You could be grappling with shifting responsibilities and the realities of full-time care at the same time that you're noticing new changes in your loved one. Or you could be far past this experience, having lost a loved one to rare disease, but still actively engaged in the community and finding meaning and finding new layers to the grief that you've been living every day. So that is what our Raregivers Emotional Journey Map is all about, is it's providing witnessing tools. There's sort of this concept of everyday life, and then this concept of life that gets medical. And just as important as calling out the feelings and the stages in this experience is calling out the tools of relief, right? What are the things that we all need to do fundamentally as human beings to find that mental break, that physical break, that emotional break, so that we can come back and do the sustainable self-care and the sustainable caregiving, the sustainable professional support work that we're doing. So as we know, we have a strong partnership with Microsoft. We're so grateful to the Microsoft employee volunteers that have worked with Angel Aid over the years to launch our website, to launch our mobile interactive environment. And that journey map that you just saw, we are so excited to take that into a fully interactive 3D experience that is built in with artificial intelligence capabilities, things that can recognize the user that's engaging in this unique world that we'll be developing over the next 12 to 24 months. And I just wanted to pause and talk about this really amazing podcast. It's listed here if you'd like to listen, long-term to the whole podcast. But this gaming AI leader at Microsoft is talking about how gaming is democratizing mental health, right? That there is this incredible ability for artificial intelligence to help us connect, and not just help us connect with some groups of people, really help us connect with all groups of people. In Angel Aid, we use artificial intelligence to help with our multilingual translations. We want to be able to reach rural and tribal communities because rare disease is everywhere around the world. And in the Microsoft environment, we know that Xbox in particular has a rich history of thinking about players and all different kinds of playing abilities, including things like introducing new 3D sounds into the game, where someone who doesn't have full visual sight capabilities maybe can only partially see the screen, but can orient based on their auditory capabilities. So it's really exciting to see what the future of gaming as a self-care tool looks like. And as we step into this next part of our broadcast, we just want to recognize, and in fact, Tommy Pham is the one that posted this article, brought it to our attention, that this is actually a fundamentally effective mental health tool, that gaming, we're reshaping what we think this community looks like, how the community is engaging with each other, that in fact there's gobs of data that's coming out now about how gaming positively affects well-being, not this sort of idea that it's negatively affecting well-being. And then this is a massive group of gamers. 3 billion people around the world are on gaming platforms, right? Half of those players are female, 29% are people of color. And don't forget about the gray gamers, the ages between 55 and 64. So again, democratizing mental health is an important concept, and really can't wait to have this conversation with Tommy. I've gotten to know Tommy over the last year and a half and really view him as just a powerhouse leader in the area of rare disease. He is an amazingly passionate rare father. He actually started the Raiden Science Foundation. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Tommy Pham. Hi, Tommy.
Zoom, right? Technology. Let me unmute myself. Hi, Crystal. Thanks for having me today.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and take a few moments and introduce yourself, personally, professionally, and whatever makes you passionate, so that our community gets a chance to know all about you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do it within a minute. And so, based on this topic, I'm super passionate about gaming. I grew up on gaming. My first video game was probably Nintendo and Super Mario. So, been playing that since like the late 80s. As you mentioned earlier, I'm a rare father. I have a son who's 3.5 years old and have a disorder called UBA5, which I'll get into in a little bit. His name is Raiden, named after the God of Thunder from Mortal Kombat. So yes, I love gaming, especially fighting game. He was diagnosed with this disease during the pandemic, so around August of 2021. And you mentioned there's 10,000 different type of rare disease earlier, right? There are rare disease where you can live or lead a normal life, and there's one where it's debilitating and you just wait for death. And unfortunately, my son is closer to that spectrum. So he's 3.5. He cannot walk, talk. So think about quadriplegic cerebral palsy. His brain will likely deteriorate over time. Unfortunately, he doesn't have yet, but a lot of kids with his disorder have relentless seizures where it doesn't stop, some as much as 16 minutes. I hate to even say this. It's tough. Like within the past month, 3 child have passed away. I can't remember all the ages, but I believe it was like 6 and 3, and then the other one was a little bit older. But it's tough. There's only about 40 of us in the community, and 3 have already passed away this past month. 4 passed away a year ago, right? So that's 7 out of 40, which is not much. There's barely any research when Raiden got diagnosed back in 2021. And my wife and I decided we got to do something. We can't just sit back and say, hey, we're not going to do anything, right? And so we decided to launch the Raiden Science Foundation to help, learn more about the disease, 1, and 2, have hope to create a treatment that can help Raiden have a better quality of life and other kids like him with UBA5. So we embarked on this journey. Now we're working with UMass, Chain Medical School. We're working with St. Jude's. We're working with Oregon Health and Science University, and we're also working with Baylor College of Medicine within the past 2 years, and we're making significant progress towards the treatment, creating a research tool, and also understanding UBA5 a lot better than we did 2 years ago. So that's kind of like my full-time job, primary full-time job, because I'm focused on saving my son's life along with my wife. My secondary full-time job is I lead gaming partnership at Nike for the past 2 years as well. So I've been doing 2 jobs at the same time. So my job at Nike is managing gaming partnership, like your Roblox of the world, if you have heard of that, or Fortnite or EA Madden. So that's a little bit about myself.
Amazing, amazing. And I've witnessed you on LinkedIn and in just the social sphere, constantly posting, being very open and vulnerable and honest about your journey with Raiden. And you made a decision along the way to start and focus on the science. In the background, have there been conversations in the family about acceptance and the challenges emotionally of this reality? I can imagine it's not what you thought fatherhood was going to look like.
No, definitely. There is kind of like the acceptance as a baseline as is. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring and when the diseases will progress. So that's kind of like baseline is kind of like what we live with every morning, like, okay, what's going to happen? But there's also hope with advancements of technology and what we're doing and like all the researchers coming together and the community coming together. And so there's a ton of hope in that avenue as well.
Yes, yes. And so bringing it into this mindful moment, right? So waking up every day and saying, today is the day, and this is what we're going to focus on today. And maybe for a few moments of each day, I need to step out and just reconnect with me as a human being, with Tommy as a man and as a gamer. And so what is gaming done for you in that sort of everyday experience within the family?
Yeah, before I get to the answer, yeah, being a rare father is tough, and I'm sure a lot of you who are listening or will listen to this podcast can relate, right? Because like one, every morning you wake up, you don't know what's going to happen. Two, some of us have like a full-time job, but then if our child is really debilitated, like with Raiden, he came in sick and he's fed via tube, so we have to worry about all of that and the endless onslaught of physical therapy, occupational therapy, feeding therapy, and all this doctor visit, daily, if not weekly, can really burn you out. So it's very important to like take those few minutes or 30 minutes or an hour if you can, just for yourself. Is it, reading a book? Is it going to the gym? For me, it's playing video games. It's kind of like my way to escape reality for a little bit.
Yes. And that's what's your go-to game? Because I'm sure there's gamers listening to this. How do
Yeah,
yeah.
good question. So there's many type of games that I play depending kind of like on my mood, right? And so at a very high level, like if I want, so I have a daughter who's 5.5, so I want to play games to escape, but also have the time to hang out with my daughter because my son is occupying all the time. You need to find time to spend with your other child. We tend to play games that she can play as well, which is like your Super Mario World on Nintendo Switch, right? And so that's spending time with my daughter, but also having fun and trying to escape. The other one is like, hey, if I'm needing like a feel good story or be in a story driven mode, I would play games like Final Fantasy. Right now I'm playing Final Fantasy 16. And there are moments that maybe I'm just angry at something, like I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do get angry at life. You just have to admit it. No one's positive all the time. Then I'll start playing fighting game just to kick some behind. I know this is PG-13, probably I would use another word, but I would just play fighting games.
Yeah, that's honest, right? There's this huge range of emotions that we have. And in fact, so many of our original wellness experiences and support groups were for mothers, because mothers are the primary caregiver in many families, 82% of the time. So we thought we'd start supporting mothers, and we realized how important it is to support the fathers as well. So we had our first men's retreat this summer at Barrett Family Ranch in Orange County, and anger was a word that came up quite a bit. And so in this gaming context, you can play these fight games and kind of get this emotional anger out, right, without actually railing against the world. That's amazing. That's
The other thing about gaming too that I want to mention, so far I've been talking about like in-game, like playing the actual game, but like you extend outside of that, you talk about the gaming community, especially depending on the game that you play. Like I love playing like fighting games and Mortal Kombat games. So within the past 2 years since Raiden diagnosis and starting the Raiden Science Foundation, that gaming community have actually helped us, one, raise awareness and like fundraise as well. Through the gaming community, we've raised $100,000, right? Through like streaming. And then most importantly, like a lot of these members within the fighting game community I have never met in person before, but some of them are folks that I can just like DM on like Twitter or Instagram and just chat if I'm having a bad day, right?
Yes,
So that's
yes.
really important as well.
Yeah, and we think about the pandemic experience. I call it the trifecta: the isolation that happened, the medical uncertainty, and these disruptions in our home and our work life routines. And that's what a rare family is like every day, right? That's our everyday. So you're actually using gaming not just as a tool in the experience, but as a connection, like a community building tool and a fundraising tool and the like. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's all the above, right? It's collective like mental wellness. Let's leave the fundraising part out for a little bit, but yeah, it's like escaping when you're actually playing a game, but it's also connecting with, I know it's still around video game, but it's connecting with like real world and real people, right? So that you don't feel lonely. Because I know a lot of rare parents and rare giver can feel lonely at times. I don't really feel that because I'm always so connected.
Yeah.
And you see my posts online as well. Whenever I feel something, I post it. It doesn't matter if it's Instagram or a professional site like LinkedIn. I just don't care. I do what I just feel like doing in the moment to free my mind. There's enough stress going on to even second think yourself.
Amazing, amazing. Well, so here we are partnered with Microsoft, arguably one of the leaders in technology in the world. And we're looking around at other multinational corporations and really paying attention to how some of these tools can help people connect to their emotions as they're, combining their home and work life, but also to connect with each other. Have you seen examples of how large corporations are using gaming to help relieve stress or connect different groups within the employee base or anything like that you've
I mean, I've
seen?
seen that through a lot with gaming company. I have a lot of respect for what Microsoft and PlayStation is doing. Like they're focused on not just gaming for the able body, I think you alluded to a little bit, but also gaming for people with disability, whether it's mobility, sight, or hearing. Like they're creating a lot of adapt hardware to enable gaming. And I think that's pretty cool. And you get to connect with those community. I've seen companies that are utilizing gaming as a medical therapy. I think there might be one or two games. I might be wrong. You have to look it up. There might be one or two games that are FDA approved.
Wow. Okay, now
You
you're
have to look it up.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think I've heard this too, and you're blowing my mind because isn't that it, right? Is that demonstrating the mental health impact on the physical and emotional health of our community. I think we're just like we're explorers. We're going up and down those hills together in the Raregiver journey map, Tommy. I think we're just scratching the surface of the kinds of things that can bring therapeutic benefit to our community, that can bring connectedness to our community, and help others outside our community really understand what we're living through. So I know that there's many people out there that would like to kind of follow you now that they've been exposed to your world. So maybe you could share a URL or some way for the this broadcast audience to connect with you or follow you in the future. Where would they go?
Yeah, and so if you are on Instagram, just go to Raiden_journey, and Raiden is spelled RAIDEN_journey. So Raiden_journey is on Instagram, and then you can always Google up Raiden Science Foundation or go to raidenscience.org to find our website.
Fantastic. Well, any final thoughts that you'd like to share before I do our final appeal for our October Give Month?
Yeah, absolutely. Last thing I would say is like, just really utilize game. I think everyone, I could be wrong, but everyone loves gaming, and gaming is just a way to connect with other rare parents, rare giver, or just connecting to like the world, whether locally or, across the ocean. Gaming is a way to connect. And, some people might say, I don't play PlayStation or I don't play Xbox, and that's okay. There's different types of game. There's games that you can play on your mobile phone. There's game that you can play on your desktop, and then a lot of games these days where you just want to pick up and drop. The games are free, and you can connect with people that way as well.
I love it. I love it. Well, Tommy, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. And I'll just spend the next couple of minutes talking about how you can support the work that we do. I'm hoping that we can bring some gaming into our Angel Aid and our Raregivers environment in the future. So we'll be coming back to you, Tommy, to ask you for support going forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me, Crystal.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you heard it from Tommy, and you know, please do follow him on Instagram, follow Raiden Science Foundation, and get a sense for that community, because we all are one people. We are one community. And just to make this a bit personal, you know, like Tommy, the family and the Barrett family, these are stories of resilience. This is a very difficult life circumstance that we are living. My parents, Richard and Phyllis Barrett, you know, met in high school. My dad was captain of the football team. My mother was head drill team leader. They wanted a big family, so they got married in 1963, and within 8 years, they had 5 children. What they didn't know is that my 3 middle brothers, David, Jared, and Randy, were born with a rare genetic disease called Hunter syndrome, or mucopolysaccharidosis. And unfortunately, there were no treatments or cures at that time for Hunter syndrome. My brothers passed away at 12, 18, and 19 years old in the 1980s. And the stress of the caregiving, the whole family was involved in the caregiving. The stress of that really broke my parents apart. They did divorce in 1975. And if you stick around another couple more minutes, I'll give you a beautiful love story about forgiveness and reuniting. But just recognizing that these journeys, these experiences are really unimaginable, and whatever the families need to do in order to survive them is very understandable. All the challenging things that happen in a family, rates of divorce, rates of addiction, rates of poverty, and emotional impact can afflict rare families. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get ahead of this experience. We're trying to recognize that suffering is the yin to the yang of joy, that that with these very difficult experiences, there's an opportunity for hearts to connect, and that in the marinating in these difficult experiences, there's an opportunity for us to be empathetic to our fellow man and women. And so that's the sort of foundational experience of Raregivers, is it's actually bringing people together. And if we can bring people together in unique ways, the pandemic demonstrated we connect digitally as well as in person. We already knew about the in-person part, but now we're adding in gaming as a potential way to connect as well. So we invite you to support our work. We are going to make our tools 3D interactive gaming experiences next year. And to do that, we need donations, we need support. And if you're a Microsoft employee and it's the month of October, all your donations are matched to Angel Aid. So please go to aka.ms/Angel Aid. If you're outside the Microsoft community, you can donate at angelaidcares.org/give. And I have exciting news. Those donations are being matched by a $25,000 grant from Tuttle Click Automotive Group. So we're starting to see support within our rare disease families from outside rare disease in the pharmaceutical industry, which is really exciting. So thank you again to all of our sponsors and supporters. And I might just mention the Purble. So if you saw this little guy or gal, depending on what sort of gender you'd like to assign to him or her, or whatever gender there is out there, I think there's 32 different genders now. The Purble is Time Magazine's best invention of 2021. This is a calming tool, okay? This petting to you, sort of put the Purble on your chest and give him a little pet, and he starts purring. You can hear and feel the vibration. This is a calming tool. So we wanted to announce that every donation during October Give Month is being entered to win a Purble Calming Companion. So we will be doing our drawing after all the donations have come in. If you're on the Microsoft side, please be sure to send an email or actually check the box that allows us to receive your contact information so that we can get you entered into that drawing as well. Okay, so thank you to all of the volunteers and the donors who make our work possible. Because of you, in the last 12 months, we've launched our first Spanish-speaking Raregivers program outside of Mexico City. We launched our first Australia-wide caregiver program for the epilepsy community, and that was in partnership with Epilepsy Foundation of Australia. And we launched our very first men's program. It started with a retreat this summer at Barrett Family Ranch and has continued into a monthly support group. So I hope Tommy and others from the community will consider joining that monthly support group. Just go to angelaidcares.org and you can look at the events tab to see those details. And for the rest of our Festival of Wellness, we have quite a few more events coming up, so please check out our programming at angelaidcares.org or on our YouTube channel at Angel Aid Cares. And I promised you an end to that love story, so here it is. Richard and Phyllis, they married in 1963. They lost 3 of their 5 children. They divorced. They remarried 2 more times, and those third marriages ended in widowhood. They widowed within a year of each other and got back together the same year that our daughter Chloe was born. They remarried 60 years later, just this April of 2023. We witnessed the marriage of Richard and Phyllis making their vows together again, filled with all the love and intentional forgiveness that came about through our work with Angel Aid. So thank you. I hope that story inspired you. I hope that you're able to support our work, and we look forward to connecting with you and continuing our relationship. If you know anybody in your community, please refer them to Angel Aid and our Raregivers support groups. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And on behalf of our board of directors, our volunteers, our supporters, and our many health and wellness practitioners and experts in rare disease like Tommy Pham, thank you for joining